Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today I'm bringing you guys just another monthly show and tell video that is going to recap what I have been making for the month of July. And it's definitely a all over the place episode. I've got knitting, I've got cross stitch and crochet, and I'm even going to talk about some sewing projects that I'm going to dive into at the end of the video. So I hope you enjoy. Grab whatever project you're working on or just sit back and listen, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I didn't think I'd have a lot to talk about, but I think I actually have way too much to talk about. So yeah, let's get started. First, I'm going to talk about the projects that, if you watched my last video, it was a project vlog kind of format. It was a little bit different. I finished two projects there, and it is the Blair vest. And I have actually been wearing this around the house over t-shirts a lot, and I'm going to throw it on so you guys can see it. I'm not going to go into too much detail because if you're interested in like figuring out all the modifications and things that I made, that you can go back and watch that video. But I will put it on in case any of you didn't actually watch that video. You can see what it looks like on. This is a pattern by Irene, who I didn't really even know existed until I found this pattern, and she has really cute patterns, so probably gonna see me doing more of hers in the future. Here is yeah, so like I said, I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I'll just tell you guys the yarn and the needle size that I made. It was Are Knitters Pima Cotton in the colorway copper, which is 100% cotton worsted weight yarn. It's, in case you didn't know, this was a repurposed yarn that I made something like 2 years ago, I think, with it, and I just wasn't wearing it. Anyway, like I said, I wasn't going to go into detail, and here I am breaking my own rules. This is repurposed yarn, and I knit it with 2.25 millimeters for the body and 2 millimeters for the ribbing. The black is actually a wool silk blend. I don't even remember what the name of that yarn was. But like I said, it's in the other video. I made the size 2, and I'm going to stop myself right there because I'm going to end up talking way more about it. I really do love this. Yeah, so that was the first project from that project vlog video. And the second one is actually back here. It is a pattern I found on Pinterest called Plant Hanger by Ashlea. Konecny. I'm probably saying that wrong. Again, that's a crochet project, and like I said, I go through the process of making that in my previous video that I posted. So if you want to know more about that, you can go check that video out. Yeah, those are those two finished objects. I just want to get those out of the way because I'm not talking too much about them. So I'm going to take this off. I literally cannot wait to wear this out like in cooler temperatures because it is a layering piece and it is like always above 90 degrees right now. Layering isn't exactly a good option. So yeah, I'm going to throw this down there. I talked about the plant hanger very briefly. I think I used a 5mm hook for that up there, and I knit the size large with some modifications that I talked about in my previous video. Enough about that. I do have more projects with that yarn though, because I don't know how this yarn goes a very, very long way. So yeah, I made those two things, and then I still had a bunch left over. And so I made this, it's another pattern I found on Pinterest, Wheat Heart Wall Hanging by High Desert Yarn. It's a free pattern. I did modify it. I guess there's no right or wrong way to look at this, but ta-da! It's very long. The pattern was used, or the pattern was for a smaller banner. It was probably would have went up to like right there, but I wanted it to be a super long piece to hang. I didn't know where I was going to hang it. I just wanted a super long piece, and I had so much yarn to use, so I thought it would be better if I used it up as much as I can. It's just a, you start the project on one end and you work rows going up and down like that, and there's some like bauble details to make it look like this wheat motif. Super easy. I used a 5mm hook again, yeah, and basically what I did to get this length is I doubled the stitch count. So I don't remember exactly how many stitches it told you to cast on, but I doubled that, and then I kind of just figured out where I wanted to start the baubles, and it was pretty easy to modify for that. It's got this cute little arrow at the bottom. And then for the tassels, I had a bunch of cotton yarn left over in these 3 colors from a while ago, and I just kind of split them. I think I cut them in 16-inch segments, and then I folded it in half and cut it, so I got 2 strands of 8-inch segments, and then I looped it on itself and crocheted it onto this, so they're like 4-inch fringes, or roughly 4 inches. I did end up trimming it, so I think they're closer to like 3 inches. Yeah. So and then for the top, there's fringes in the pattern, but I decided to make it different colors. And then this was not in the pattern at all. To make these loops, all it is, I started with a single crochet at the top, and I think I chained 8, and then single crocheted on the next like little piece. I kind of estimated to space it out. It's not perfect, but I just kept doing that to have 8 chain stitch loops so that I could attach it to what I knew was going to be a stick. And yeah, I went out last weekend. I went to my in-laws' property and found a water oak stick, because I think water oak is really pretty. It usually has these like white speckle spots on it. I made another wall art thing, it's like a Monstera wall art thing a while back, and I also took a water oak stick from the same property. And so I just kind of thought the continuity would be cute. And it's easy to find straight sticks from water oaks, so I threaded that through there, and then I am just putting it on my round spinny thing that I have showed you guys when I did my yarn tour. Yeah, I like it. It's just a cute little art wall piece. So then I still had a huge ball of yarn of this cotton, and I really didn't feel like looking for a pattern for that exact meterage and something that I felt was like practical and stuff. So all I did was I made a baby blanket. I don't know the measurements of it. It's roughly baby blanket size. I don't know. All I did was cast on 1 stitch, and then every row I added a stitch on the beginning of the row. So I did, I think it was beginning of each row, I knit 1 and then knit through the front loop and back loop. And then when I turned, I did it again, so that evenly added a stitch on each side until I weighed it when I was getting around roughly halfway done with the ball of yarn, and made sure that I also weighed it before I started, so I knew what my beginning weight was, just to make sure I would have enough yarn to maximize how much the amount of yarn I used. So I think I started out with, the halfway point was 134 grams, so double whatever that is what I started out with. And so once I got to roughly 134 grams, I just started decreasing every row again the same way. I started the row, knit 1, knit 2 together, and then once I got to the end of the row, I turned it and then did the same thing until I got to 1 stitch. And that's how I made it. It makes a square blanket, and I knew that I was going to use up as much yarn as possible, and yeah. So this is going to, oh, I think I used a 4.5mm needle. Yeah. This is going to go to my parents' house so that my sister's youngest can use it as a blanket there. Because I already made him a baby blanket, and yeah, my mom mentioned maybe it would be a nice thing to have a baby blanket there while they're staying at their grandma's house. So yeah, this is going to my mom's house for the babies. It's really fun to make. It's really easy on the mind. You don't have to really think about it. Especially, I liked that. So some increases when it comes to like flat projects like this, you increase on both ends of the row, and you just alternate increase row, no increase row, increase row, no increase row. And I have had trouble in the past remembering whether or not I should increase or shouldn't increase. So I actually really liked this method because every single row I was increasing or decreasing. I didn't have to think about it. So yeah. It's also a really good blanket for a baby blanket, or a really good yarn for a baby blanket, because you can just throw this in the dryer. You could more than likely also throw it in the washer. What I did was I just threw it in some like lukewarm water with, I used wool wash because I have it on hand, but you could probably just use any kind of like gentle soap and just let it soak, and then just throw it in the dryer. That's what I did. And it's fine. I also threw my Blair vest in the dryer. Everything turned out okay, so it's good for something a baby's gonna use, because you can use your washer and dryer. So there's that. And that's all the orange I have to show you. I feel like my entire knitting and crochet, like my crafting, has been filled with orange for the past month. But it has been used. And I know for a fact that I will not rip back the Blair vest because I freaking love it. And everything else it's not like garments. So, I mean, that's going to be used. It's going to constantly be used. The blanket, I know, is going to either be used or just like pretty next to a crib. And the wall art is going to be used because it's up on the wall. No more ripping back this yarn. It has found its destiny. And I am done with it. All right. Orange is done. Now we are moving on to, let's do, oh, okay, so I have my Naughty But Nice cardigan. Let's see, make sure it's facing the right way. This is a pattern by Unwind Knitwear. Has like this macrame type look. I use Knitpicks Stroll. They have this gradient cake stuff you can get in the colorway Hollow Greens. If you haven't noticed, I have been using a lot of like yarns repetitively, and that's because I'm trying really hard to work on the stash that I have. And if you've been here, you know that by now. But yeah, I just wanted to use this yarn because I had like 3 whole cakes, and I only used like 1.5 for this, so still don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of it. Anyway, I used a 2.5mm. The recommended was 4. You know how it goes with me. I'm a very loose knitter. I met Gage. I actually, excuse me, drink some water. I actually talked to you guys about this last episode. I'm just now realizing, because I talked about my swatch debacle. Made 3 swatches for this. So anyway, it's finished. I really like it. I'll put it on, but it probably doesn't look best with a shirt. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look that great with this shirt, because my shirt peeks out of it. I don't feel like standing up. Okay. It looks really cute with dresses. I'll just say that. Yeah. So, because the yarn I used is gradient, I kind of had to do some finagling with it. Because it starts from the back. Oh, and by the way, I knit the size large. Get this off. Oh god. Okay, I knit the size large, yes. And so it starts in the back, and you can see kind of like it has that gradient right here, and then the front doesn't. It goes from white to that blue really quickly. That's because when I did the front panel, I wanted this color to, basically I just want it to be continuous, kind of have that teal color start at the same time in the front and the back. So once I got to about that point, I just switched to the teal part of the yarn. I think I used a different ball of yarn that I had from that, like that colorway, and just, because it was already at that point, that blue point, teal point in the skein. So yeah, I just did that. I just went ahead went to that, and then when I did the other panel, I did the same thing. I started at the white, and then once I got to the same point, I just switched to the teal color. But the good thing is, once I got to finishing the front panels and joining with the back, I didn't have to worry about doing that anymore, because the whole thing would be going all at once, and so it would just naturally fade into this blue color, the dark blue color. I don't know if that made any sense. My brain's kind of like everywhere right now. I don't know why. Yes, and then I actually finished one of the cakes once I got to the bottom of the blue, and I asked people on my Instagram, which is the Crafty Sparrow. I'll put it, it's actually in the description box if you're interested in following me on that. Anyway, I asked in my stories whether I should reverse the gradient and start with, see, I started with white here and then work my way to dark blue. If I should start with dark blue and work my way to white, or if I should repeat the same. So this dark blue would have immediately went into the white again. And people liked the reverse gradient idea, and then I agreed. But by the time I was starting it, I was like, it's not even going to have the chance to go into the other colors. So I just knit it the length that I wanted, and it just stayed dark blue. And I liked how that looked anyway, so it worked out. Yeah. I think I did a couple of things that are modified. Let's see. I did 2 extra repeats of the lace on the body. I wrote down that I added 2 more decrease rounds to the collar. I don't even know what do I even mean by that? It is kind of V-necked. I guess that's what I mean. So, because there are increases. Sorry. Decrease rounds on the collar? Decrease? I think I meant to put increase. Because you don't decrease on the collar. I added 2 more increases, I think is what I meant to put. I'm reading my Blair vest modifications. I added 4 extra stitches underneath the arm, added an extra few rows to the body. I stopped the sleeves after the second round of short rows, because there are short rows for the sleeves. Those are my modifications for this cardigan. Boy, I should not be recording today, but I'm going to anyway, so buckle up. Yeah, so one thing I will say about the pattern that I didn't really enjoy was this knot stitch here. The really spacey ones. It was just really a challenge to get my needle into all the stitches that I had to. Just wasn't pleasant. Everything else was fun though. Especially the drop stitches. The drop stitch detail is really cute and really satisfying to do. So yeah. There it is. I wore it out in public like the day after it got done drying, and I had like 3 compliments on it, so that's always a good feeling. There's that. What's next? Okay, so this is another repeat yarn. I'm trying to use my yarn up, so I'm not sorry, but bear with me is what I guess I'm trying to say here. It's more that purple yarn that I don't know what it's called. Spa, a silky soft bamboo blend. In a purple color. I don't know. It was gifted to me, so by a old coworker. Anyway, I had one and like a little under another skein left, and I just wanted to use it. And I found, this is the Summer Secret Crop by Jessie Maed Designs. I'm sure you know of it. It's a really, really popular pattern. It is a, it's free on Ravelry. She also has the option to pay what you can. Really, really size inclusive, as all of her patterns are. I wanted to make another bralette type thing, and this was just a little bit thicker than what I'm used to using for my other bralette that I've talked about before, modification of the Aphrodite bralette. So I found this, and it was kind of perfect. And I think this is actually going to be another go-to pattern because the top piece is, you don't split. So a lot of bralettes you have like more of a V-neck cup and you split to do your left cup and right cup. This one, it's not that way. The only time you have to split off is to do the other strap, and it's just a lot less ends to weave in, and it's really enjoyable. I went with the cross thing, the straps crossing the back. Logistics, I used a 3.25 millimeter. You can go ahead and assume that's much smaller than what's recommended. This is like a worsted or DK weight yarn. And okay, so the sizing, I messed up a little bit, but I just kind of went with it and edited it where I could. I was going to do there's two options for the pattern, with waist shaping and without waist shaping. I was going to do it with waist shaping, and I picked the size medium. Then I started making it, and I tried it on when I got to the point where I was ready to start doing the waist shaping, and I decided that I didn't need the waist shaping, but my stitch count was for waist shaping. So anyway, I ended up sticking to a medium, I think. No. I technically ended up making a small without waist shaping as far as the stitch count goes. I think I had like 2 extra stitches, so I just bound those off on the back, and so that the front had the right stitch count for the size small without waist shaping, if that makes sense. Yeah. Everything else was to pattern. I think, though, I'm probably going to rip out this hem, do that special thing where you can just like cut, because I have so much yarn left over. This did not use, it maybe used 1 ball of yarn, maybe. I think I'm going to cut the ribbing and add some length to it, because it's a really good length just when you put it on, but once you start moving around and stuff, it's kind of like bunches up underneath the booba and it's a little bit shorter than I would like, so I think I'm going to add some length to it. I have the yarn. It shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, so, but I probably won't come back and show you guys after it. I just wanted to show you guys what I had made. Recommend the pattern. It's Jessie Maed. Of course I recommend the pattern. Okay, well, there's that. And my last finished object is cross stitch, and it is my husky one. This was a pattern I found on Pinterest for free. I just printed it out, and I got the DMC floss for it. This is, I don't know what Ada stitch cloth, but it is Ada cloth. And yeah, so this is a project that I'm gifting to one of my buddies who has a husky. And the pattern had the dog with brown eyes, but I ripped those. It was like it's like 3 stitches. Yeah, it's 3 stitches, so I just ripped those out and replaced it with blue because his dog has blue eyes. I like it a lot. I'm going to frame it and ship it out to him as soon as I find out what his address is. So that was really fun, and this was the cross stitch project that I had on, like, that I was working on, and now I don't have any, so I'm kind of excited to see what other patterns are out there to do. I may not start one like right away. It'll probably be a little bit, but I'm still excited at the prospect of starting a new cross stitch project because that's always really fun. So if you have any recommendations for cross stitch projects, let me know in the comments. Yeah, so there's that. Looks really good. Okay, so that's all my finished objects. Works in progress, which is only one. And it is a Musselburgh hat by, I don't know how to pronounce this, so bear with me. Ysolda Teague. It's a pretty famous hat. You probably heard of it before. Here it is so far. I'm making it with Knitting for Olive Merino. I think the colorway is Marzipan. This was just leftover yarn that I had. I had like almost 3 entire skeins left over from vest number 8 that I made last winter. And it's just been sitting on my shelf, and it's like, it's just enough that you could make a garment out of it, but that garment would be a summer top, probably like a tank top or, you know, a lacy piece, and it's wool. So it's not really a good idea, especially for where I live. South Carolina is not exactly the coolest climate. And yeah, so I was like, heck, I'll just make a Musselburgh hat because it's knitting for days. I'm actually almost done with it. And I really wanted a stockinette in the round project because I have been power reading through the last book in the inheritance cycle. And I recently learned how to knit and read at the same time. But it's only stockinette in the round, so here is my solution, Musselburgh hat. Yeah, I will definitely still have yarn left over. I have just broken into this, like I haven't even got all the way around to uncover like the latticey looking part of the ball of yarn. And I have an entire other ball of yarn on my shelf still, so I could probably make 2 Musselburgh hats. And I might, and just gift one away, I don't know. So yeah. I am making this with a 2mm needle size, my metal Teague, which I have discovered I think is my favorite needle to work with. Something about a small metal needle, the way it sounds when it clanks together, the way it glides, I don't know, I really enjoy it. So this has been kind of it's just blissful for me. Also because it's knitting for olive yarn, which is always amazing and a treat. So yeah, and then also my gauge ended up being 8 stitches per inch, and so if you know anything about this pattern, you know that it doesn't specify exactly which yarn or needle size to use. You start off, and after a certain amount of progress on the hat, you measure how many stitches you have, in an inch. And why do you insist on using my leg skin as a point of grip when you want on my lap? It's not very nice. Anyway, you knit to that point and then you measure how many stitches you have per inch, and then it tells you from there how many increases, how many stitches, and whatnot. So yeah, 2mm needle, and I ended up with a gauge of 8 stitches per inch. Yeah. Oh, and I'm making an adult small, because apparently I have a tiny head. You learn a lot about yourself when you're making your own clothes and such. That's all I really have to say about the Musselburgh hat. And that's my only work in progress. And there's a reason why I'm speeding through this a little bit. I have a lot of future plans to talk to you about. And for once, I have acquisitions to show you. I don't think I've had acquisitions to show you since I made my river kettle cardigan. And that was like 4 episodes ago, maybe? Yeah, I have some acquisitions to show you. Fabric and yarn. So if that's not your thing, I understand. I'll catch you next time. But if it is your thing, let's dive in. With the cat on my lap. Okay, so let's talk yarn first. Yeah, let's talk yarn first since I'm already on yarny conversations. So we'll do this first. Okay, Ashley, I don't think you can actually be on my lap for this because this is a big boy. If you don't know what this is, well, it says it on the box. This is from Knitpicks. And I blame Judy from the why is her handle blanking on me? I'll find it because I highly recommend her channel. I don't know why I'm completely just blanking on her. The Autumn Acorn. Why did that just absolutely just vanish from my brain? Anyway, I blame her for this purchase because she had a video on her Instagram where she had bought exactly this. Palettes mini sampler. They have 50 colors of their Knitpicks palette. It is gorgeous. They have 3 different colors you can get. And this one specifically is Mountain and Desert. I'm not going to show you every single color. I just want to show you how glorious it is. Just like the first, sorry for the crinkly, the first taste of it. Yeah. I'm happy. Anyway, I saw Judy post that on Instagram and I was like, it's still on sale. I'm gonna buy it. My husband bought it for me actually, because he's just like, you really want this, don't you? I was like, yeah, I really do, and it's on sale. He's like, just use my card. He knows how to woo me. Yeah, there's 50 colors and they are 20 grams each, and I'm definitely gonna make a sweater out of this. I know that's a lot to process as far as like, what pattern are you going to use? How are you going to orientate the colors? There's a whole other layer of yarn underneath that one, but I'm not going to take all the yarn out and show you. It's all just like oranges and neutrals and stuff, which is my vibe. Mostly just neutrals. Can't shut this box. So, I do need your help with this because, like I said, processing what I'm gonna make with this amount of color is an entire project of its own. I want it to be a pullover. It doesn't have to be like classic stranded color work, but I like stranded color work. I found 2 patterns that I think I'm gonna do, but if there's like some other ones that you guys out there are familiar with and you think will go really good with fingering weight, woolly yarn, please let me know, because the more options I have to choose from, the more I'm gonna end up liking the sweater. But the 2 that I'm thinking about using are Sea Glass sweater or the Kismet sweater, and I will post pictures of them up on the screen. I like the Sea Glass sweater because it just looks good with a bunch of colors. I don't know what else to say. It's so pretty, and I have enough yarn for it. It's top down, I think, if I remember correctly. Anyway, there's that one or Kismet. Now, Kismet is not technically for that many colors, but the color work section on the yoke, I could see me easily just extending it all the way to a full body color work thing. I really like the way the stranded color work like motif looks, and I was thinking about just like switching out colors after each little section of the motif. I don't know. That one's gonna take a lot more thinking than the Sea Glass sweater, so I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but it's too hot to even start anything, so definitely not gonna start that until probably late September, October, maybe. So we got some time to figure that out. The other yarn acquisition that I got is this Red Heart Chic Sheep. It's 100% wool, and I got this from the fabric sale that I went to where I got the fabric I'm going to show you in a second. They had yarn. I was not expecting them to have 100% wool yarn. Most of it was acrylic. So when I found this, and I mean this is only, it's $4.75 a skein, which I don't know how much it is like market price, but I don't think it's $4.75. So I got 5 balls of these, and I also have just in my stash a similar weight, also from Red Heart, Fulo Sheep. It's a single ply yarn, so it is a little bit different. This is definitely a higher twisted yarn, and it's this right here is merino wool. This is it's wool. I don't know what kind of wool. Where's the thing of, where's it at? Peruvian wool. So it is a little bit different, but it is 100% wool, and I like these colors together. So what I'm going to do with this is the, I don't know how to pronounce this, Rubos? The Rubos sweater? I'll post a picture again up here. I know what you're saying, that doesn't have color work on it. Like, what are you going to do with 2 colors? I think what I'm going to do, I have 2 balls of this, basically 2 entire skeins of this, and I'm going to add stripes. Because I don't think 5 skeins of this is enough to make an entire sweater, but if I buffer it with some white stripes, definitely it'll be enough. So yeah. I don't know what I'm going to make it, but that's definitely what I have planned for this stuff. Okay. So next is fabric, and I'm going to talk about why I'm buying fabric and why I'm doing these projects before I show you the fabric. My husband and I are going to a Ren Faire this fall. First one we've ever been to. And I really want to dress up for it because that sounds really fun. So I decided, I actually had the perfect dress for it already as like a base item, because Ren Faire outfits are all about layering. So the first layer is going to be this like bottle green dress I found from Old Navy. It's tiered, it has billowy sleeves that cinch in, and it can be like off shoulder. It's honestly, it's so perfect for Ren Faire. I think maybe subconsciously I knew that when I bought it. This was like a year ago when I bought it. So anyway, I had that as a base layer, and I wanted to wear a corset with it, or it's kind of going to be more of like a bodice than anything. Because I'm not putting boning in it. So yeah, I knew I wanted to make a corset for myself, and I have always wanted a cloak. Always wanted a big dramatic cloak with a hood. And now I have a reason to make one. So I'm gonna make a hooded cloak and a corset for this Ren Faire. I got a pattern for my corset. I think it's a pretty popular one for people to get. I'm going to make this one right here. But I'm not going to add the little peplum thing at the bottom though. It's just going to be that. I like the strap having the ribbon right there. Or else I would have just done that one. But I like the added little flare there on that. So, also this one has a little bit of like a pointedness to it on the bottom, which I liked better. So, yeah, and this is Buterick B4669. And I got the size EE, which is 14 through 20. I think I'm making the size 14. Yeah, making the size 14 for me. So let me show you the fabric I got for it, which is the exciting part. Obviously, I wanted something that would match bottle green, and I wanted something. I knew that I wanted a tapestry type, like royally pattern. And this was one of the first ones that I saw at the fabric sale, and it was like nothing else compared. I love it so much. It's like this deep burgundy, almost brown. And it has like these gold threads. I don't know, it's just so pretty. And it is tapestry material, so it's very thick, which is good for a bodice, especially if you're not putting boning in. And then for the liner on the inside, I got this gold color which you won't see except for like it's also going to act as the binding for the bodice. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I haven't bought the thread for it yet, and I also need to buy the ribbon. So, but those are kind of like, well, the thread I need to buy first before I start sewing it. But the ribbon I'm probably just going to buy when I'm done with it. Yeah. So that's for my corset. And then for my cloak. Don't yell at me. I'm showing them fabric. You can't, this lighting's not doing it justice at all. It's a heavy wool fabric. It is like a heathery gray color. And what you're failing to see, because the lighting is ass cheeks, is that it has flecks of colors in it. Like a colorful tweedy look to it. I mean, like all colors. It's like a rainbowy flecks of color, which is super fun, and I think it'll make a really good cloak. The pattern I'm following for the cloak, I actually bought one that was on sale on Etsy, and I was committed to doing it, even though it looked a little complicated for my skill set on sewing. But then I found on YouTube a free pattern from AnnieChie Designs, and I will link it down below. But it is literally as simple as taking 120 inches of this 60-inch bolt fabric, folding it in half, and cutting it like diagonal, or not diagonal, just like 60 inches all the way across it, so that makes it like a circle. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. And then the fabric that's left over makes the hood, and you just sew the hood pieces together, sew the cloak pieces together, and then hem it, which is so much easier than the pattern I bought. So anyway, you should definitely check out that video if you want to make a cloak as well. I haven't done it yet, so I can't say I recommend it, but it looks really easy, so yeah, there's that. Yeah, I think that's actually everything. I should really drink more water when I record these things. I'm just super excited about this Ren Faire. It has been on my mind every single day since I decided that we were going, or since my husband and I decided we were going. Yeah. I think that's it. Oh, noteworthy accounts. So, because I'm going through this Ren Faire, I also have been looking at a lot of Renaissance, cottagecore, fairycore content on YouTube to get some outfit inspiration. And so my two noteworthy accounts today are a product of my curiosity for fantasy core dressing. The first one is Rachel Makesy. She's just the most adorable thing. It's like I started watching her videos and I instantly fell in love. She actually used this pattern for the corset, which is where I found it from. And she does like cosplay videos, and she has a very like vintage vibe, and she does like outfit videos. She gets prompts from her viewers, and she tries to put together an outfit. It's so fun to watch her videos. I think I spent half of a day when I found her account just watching a bunch of her old videos. So highly recommend that. She also has an Instagram, and of course I've linked all that right here and below in the description box. So there's Rachel, and then there's Scotty from Dress Me Up Scotty, who has really, really good tips on thrifting clothes and pieces of just like for your wardrobe for fantasy core, cottage core, whatever, all that stuff. Also super easy to watch, really helpful, and she also has an Instagram you guys should check out. So those are my two noteworthy accounts. And I guess also AnnieChie Designs YouTube account is kind of like a noteworthy account because she's the one that has the cloak pattern. So yeah, there's too many amazing inspirational creators out there on YouTube and Instagram. Anyway, I think that's it. There's always something that I forget, but that's where I'm gonna end it. Yeah, okay, so thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please think about subscribing and liking this video. You know, the algorithm is crazy for YouTube, so it'll really help me out. But regardless, I'm happy that you're here, and I'd love to hear what you guys have been making or just like doing while you're watching my videos, because I'm super curious about it. Usually when I'm watching videos, I'm knitting, or just eating lunch. I don't know. Tell me what you're eating while you watch my video. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful upcoming month doing whatever makes you happy and you find joy. And happy crafting, and bye.